Hello, and welcome to my run of 313. So 313 is a very interesting and difficult map. Unfortunately, due to limitations of memory editing, I have to use some simulations of various units rather than actually using the proper variation. For example, Zihark will be using a Killing Edge instead of a forged Steel Sword. The forged Steel Sword will have 15 critical, and importantly, a forged steel sword will be able to crit with more might. So Zihark would have anywhere from 14 to 15 might on a steel sword. Ike has a variety of possible benchmarks he can be hit at. The most notable ones is that at worst case scenario he'll have 26 defense, which would require a Zihark with either 24 strength or a 15 might steel sword, which means that you would need a coin bonus. 40% of coins gives strength, and so Zihark has a grand total of a 90 has a very good chance of getting that. Only 25% of Ikes reach the defense benchmark. That means that 98% of the time you'll be able to reach the offensive benchmark. Another thing I did, which is important, is I shove trained Zihark into this corner. If Jill does not have... If Zihark meets the offensive benchmarks by above 1, you do not need to have Zihark use a Leonardo support. And so what Zihark can do instead is support with Jill, which would increase Jill and Zihark's survivability by a little bit. This is not necessary, as it turns out, because enemy AI is actually very jank, I've learned, and even though they have displayed hits that would result in Zihark's death, instead they prefer to go after Soth for some reason. Maybe a result of them, they're having a survival instinct, or like this specific map, they might want to try to get closer to the objective square. So on turn 1, I rescued Laura. Now, normally this would be Leonardo, but unfortunately, Leonardo did not have a support with Zihark. That would be a C support. You need to, in order for Leonardo to get enough support points, you would need to deploy Leonardo in either 1-8 or 1E. And 1-8 is probably easier to deploy in than 1E, because 1E is a really complicated and difficult map, whereas 1-8 is mostly broken units go burr. The other key for this map is getting Volug half shift. You need Volug half shifted so he can show Zihark on this on turn 2. The positioning of the enemy units is such that you will need Zihark to run forward. Even though he ran down the middle on turn 1, he needs to on turn 2 run. Even though he ran to the right side, that was mostly to protect Jill and prevent Jill from getting ganged up by a bunch of Lagoos. So, by giving Jill Leonardo, we do weigh Jill down, which does decrease her stats. But she only needs to hit 3 out of 4 Brave Hacks hits, so it's reasonably likely that she'll get this kill, although obviously not guaranteed. And then Zihark himself is actually more likely than Jill was to get this kill. Half-shifted Volug is nice here because he has extra move, which will allow him to shove Zihark into position. So that's the kill of Ike. If you had a steel sword forged instead of having a Killing Edge, you could have done things differently. Another thing to consider might be trying to give Ike a bronze sword and trying to have Zihark use Wrath instead of Resolve. Wrath Zihark would have additional crit rate, which could in fact make it more reliable. Instead of going from 81% chance of success, go to about 98%. Thank you for watching. Bye.